No, the title isn't a joke, and yes, sim racing is now an official Olympic sport. In this video we're going to have a little chat about it, and I'm going to tell you all you need to know about Olympic sim racing. The International Olympic Committee has just announced its first ever virtual Olympics series, a bold move meant to capture a younger generation of viewers whose interest in physical sports are on the decline. One of the virtual sports will be sim racing. Some of the other sports include baseball, cycling, rowing and sailing on their respective games. As you probably already know, sim racing is one of the most popular esports in the world, in part because the skills needed to be good at sim racing and racing in the real world overlap considerably. With national and global sim racing events attracting large viewership numbers over the last few years, it's of no surprise that sim racing has been selected to be one of the virtual Olympic sports. However, what was a surprise was the game that the IOC and the FIA selected for this. Instead of using an actual sim racing title such as Assetto Corsa, iRacing or RFactor, the competition for Sim Racing Gold will be held on Gran Turismo, a PlayStation exclusive designed with accessibility in mind rather than driving realism. But then again, perhaps it shouldn't be such a surprise. After all, Gran Turismo is the world's most popular racing title, and the FIA have been heavily involved with their championships over the years. Additionally, the game has undeniably great spectator tools built in, unlike pretty much every other proper racing sim. Finally, it seems a bit too big of a coincidence that the sim racing category at the Tokyo Olympics will use a game designed by Japanese developers that is an exclusive on a Japanese console. Last year, the FIA also decided on RFactor II for the 24 hours of virtual Le Mans. So the fact that it was selected purely because it is a Japanese game on a Japanese console seems likely. Although to counter that point, every single RFactor II event that has been broadcast has had some issue or another, whether it be game bugs or server cutouts. And Studio 397 has failed to make any reparations to the game after its recent coverage. So maybe they just wanted the event to run smoothly. As a hardcore sim racer, the announcement has left me quite conflicted. On one hand, it's great that sim racing is getting even more global recognition. On the other hand, it's a shame that the sim racing Olympics won't actually use a proper sim racing title. The virtual 24 hours of Le Mans gave sim racing great coverage, featuring on TV stations globally. And of course the Olympics is much bigger than Le Mans, so I can't see how this wouldn't be a good thing for sim racing. Even if it gets more people playing Gran Turismo with a wheel, a good chunk of those people will inevitably want to try a more realistic sim down the line. After all, I'm pretty sure most of us started on a less realistic game. However, one thing that I do find frustrating as a motorsport fan is that the IOC are prepared to give sim racing the full Olympic treatment, whereas they've had a habit of keeping traditional motorsport out of the Olympics for over 120 years. The last time any motorsport was held at the Olympics was in the year 1900, and even then that wasn't an official Olympic sport, it was more of an exhibition. Additionally, the high contrast between Olympic athletes that dedicate their entire lives to being at peak fitness and perfecting their skill, and sedentary esport athletes that have just been playing the game for a few years, makes me question whether this esport Olympics is just a cash grab or not, especially when they've barred the real life counterpart of this specific sport from being in the Olympics for a century. Taking place ahead of the Tokyo Olympic Games 2020, now 2021, the Olympic Virtual Series will begin on the 13th of May, continuing through to the 23rd of July 2021. The Olympic Virtual Series will mobilise virtual sport, esports and gaming enthusiasts all around the world to reach the Olympic stage, while also encouraging the development of forms of esport in line with the Olympic guidelines. So what does this mean for sim racing? With sim racing rapidly becoming a recognised sport, I think many new sim racing titles will crop up with the focus on highly competitive racing. And as the sim racing player base grows, I think this could mean that a bunch of new development studios will throw their hats into the sim racing ring. In any industry, competition is good for the consumer, and I don't see why sim racing can't be any different. Now, some people might not like this idea, however I'm a sim racer that plays purely online for the competitive aspect, and personally I can't wait for this. This just gets me excited for the future of sim racing and makes my mind wander on what the possibilities could be here. As per usual, there are a lot of sim racing elitists and gatekeepers that have had to have their say on social media. But as we've already discussed, new people getting into the hobby is always a great thing. There's never a downside to it. Sure, Gran Turismo is a more streamlined and user-friendly version of the sim racing that we know and love, but it certainly is a driving sim in some capacity. Sim racing at any level, even in the less realistic sims such as Gran Turismo, takes more skill and dedication than most people expect. And if the virtual Olympics can showcase that in a good way, then I am all for it. So that is all you need to know about the Sim Racing Olympics. Make sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. While you're down there, drop a like, and if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button for more sim racing content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.